Now that we have clean and healthy greyhounds, several tests are conducted to help us learn about the hound's personality. These tests in turn lead to a personality profile of each greyhound that is used to match hound and forever home. First up is what we call small dog testing.
We small dog test because there's small dogs in the world, and greyhounds are going to have to learn to live with them, and we want to know in advance what their reaction is going to be, if it's going to be a positive one or a negative one when they interact with a small dog. First I'll observe the greyhound and see what its first reaction is to seeing a small dog up close, and then you go by body language. You look at the body language of the dog and look at the body language of the small dog and see what's going on between them. If the small dog looks comfortable, then we let the greyhound get a little bit closer, and we just watch the interaction, and it's usually pretty quickly apparent whether things are going to go to the positive or the negative side, whether the greyhound's going to be tolerant of small dogs or whether the greyhound's going to be aggressive to small dogs. The small dog testers for SEGA are, this is Trickle, she's a Jack Russell Terrier.
And this is Katie, she's a Cairn Terrier.
The next step in the process is cat testing.
We categorize them in three ways. They're either tolerant, workable, or not tolerant. Tolerant is how we do it. I get on the ground with hold the cat. My partner brings the dog around with the muzzle on typically, and brings the dog, lets the dog approach and smell the cat and sniff her and all that kind of good stuff, and then we take the cat away, drop the cat, for lack of a better word, and let the cat walk, and then see the dog's reaction at that point in time. Typically, if they look around the room, don't care, walk off, they're tolerant at that point. They don't care about the cat. Those that are workable are really the ones that are harder to diagnose, because it's a fine line between workable and not tolerant.
And last but not least is a series of tests that help us get an idea of the personality of each greyhound and what kind of forever home is going to fit best.
When we profile the greyhounds, we're trying to determine 5 basic things. We want to know what the basic personality of the dog is, whether or not they could live alone, live in an apartment, could they live with children, do they need a fenced yard, and so on. We test for food aggression. We want to know if the dogs are possessive over high-value items. We want to see if they can handle being alone, or do they tend to vocalize or stress over it. We want to see if they're interested in toys. Do they like close contact? Are they overly sensitive to being touched or handled, or the extra low pain tolerance?
And just why do so many volunteers donate their time, their services, and yes, their money to help these retired athletes find a forever home?
We go to all that trouble because we want the adoption to be a good adoption. We want it to be a good experience for the adopter. We want the dog to feel loved and immediately at home and cared for in the situation. We don't want to expose the dog to a lot of stress. We don't want the people to be stressed out, because we want the reputation of greyhounds to be a good one, because it is a good one.
While the greyhounds wait for you to come and take them home, they're under the care and supervision of Southeastern Greyhound Adoption. And the person who coordinates that effort is our kennel chairman.
The kennel chairman is in charge of the care of the dogs while they're in the hands of SEGA. We can have as many as 12 dogs, and we make sure they're clean, they're well fed, they're walked, and we're lucky enough to have a veterinarian on the premises, so anytime we need any kind of medical attention, it's handy right there. We use their staff to take care of the animals, and then we have all volunteers 365 days a year who walk the dogs daily and have one-on-one contact and give the dogs attention. I do it because I love the dogs. I absolutely love the dogs, and I especially like to work with the kennel just because that's right, that's the grassroots of where it's at, and I can see the dogs on their way. It's one of the best jobs, I think. I have regularly 2 or 3 people a month volunteering to walk the dogs for various reasons. They want to be involved with the dogs, or they might be thinking about adopting a dog. So, they want to get hands-on and get to know them a little bit. and some of them is just for the love of the breed and gives them a little dog fix.
Because of limited space at our kennel, a network of over 60 foster families has been developed to act as kind of a halfway house for many of the greyhounds that come through Southeastern Greyhound adoption.
Foster home is really a pre-home environment, so they'll learn to walk on stairs, they'll learn to stay off sofas, they'll learn to interact with other animals in the foster family, interact with the people in the foster family. So it's really it's the next step out of the kennel and before they get adopted.
Our family volunteers to foster the new dogs that come in from the track. It's a wonderful opportunity to make a difference in a dog's life. Some of the things that foster dogs need to learn in the home environment is how to walk upstairs and how that windows are solid and that they can walk through doors when they're open, how to walk on a lead nicely, how to eat slowly, and just how to get along within the home environment. Their racing environment is so different from a home, and I'm always amazed about how fast they learn. Some of the funniest things that have happened to me, these dogs are just so loving and goofy in a sense. Our foster filigree drank my coffee the other morning, and this morning she was licking the picnic table where the dried coffee was. They steal your shoes and run off with them. They like to hide things in their crate. You'll never know when you go down to the crate to see what they have in their crate. It's very fun to watch them open up.
Meanwhile, back at Southeastern Greyhound Adoption at the Jefferson County Kennel Club in the Florida Panhandle, a special adoption was taking place.
Brian's our most recent local adopter, and we do place usually 2 or 3 dogs a month in the local community or surrounding communities. Just like SEGA Atlanta, we kind of restrict ourselves to a 100-mile radius in terms of doing local adoptions that we have to support. And Brian is the most recent one of those, and he had previously adopted a greyhound from up in North Carolina, and now he lives in Valdosta, which is a community near here, and he's deaf. And so it was a little bit of a challenge for us to figure out how to do the communications and how to make the whole thing happen, but he just has a wonderful heart, and it's obvious that he loves the dogs, and he's already, even before he got his dog from us, has become a real dedicated volunteer. He came out the other day and helped us cat test, and he always tells me every communication I ever have with him, he says, make sure you tell me when I can come and help again. So he's just a great guy. I think he's be a wonderful addition to our group.
And that's the story of how greyhounds get from here to here with the help and love of so many dedicated volunteers. We encourage you to visit our website. It contains a wealth of information about the breed, suggested reading materials, adoption information, and how you can become involved in the wonderful world of greyhounds and help these retired athletes on the road home.
I think the heritage of the breed, their athleticism, they're kind of their dual nature. You know, they're really keen to the chase, and yet they're in the home environment. They're very loving, laid-back dogs, and I like that dual aspect of their personality. They're just such incredibly athletic dogs, just made to run, and every part of their body is made for that. I find when they run at full speed, it's just breathtaking.
Greyhounds are beautiful, brilliant, loving, fun dogs. They are wonderful companions. They're kind of the definition of love.